If I'm in a balaclava, I feel uncomfortable if you see me on the street.
I wouldn't want you to wear a balaclava.
Yeah, but you'll feel uncomfortable, won't you?
I wouldn't. No, I just say it's your choice.
Okay, most people feel uncomfortable if they see me
ask
walking
me,
down
does
the
that make it
balaclava.
illegal? Does it make it
I'm not
illegal?
talking about law now. I'm saying you'd feel uncomfortable.
I wouldn't. Actually, I wouldn't. You know, in winter, many people have seen the very for protecting their face from the frozen. Sorry, from the cold.
Maybe it won't, but a lot of people will feel intimidated if they see someone, especially big, walking around in a balaclava.
Many people feel intimidated by many people having tattoos on. So what are you going to do?
We should not.
Everyone, whose rights you're going to protect?
We should not be.
All, you know what I'm telling this gentleman? The conversation started like this. He said a woman should not be allowed. Am I right? Tell me if I'm quoting it wrong. A woman should not be allowed to wear the niqab, which means only the eyes showing, the entire face covered.
This is what I said.
And I said, is it wrong to take it off her by force as well? To put it on her by force, I agree that is wrong. But to grab it off by force, is that wrong?
Yes.
Good. What do you say?
I'm saying,
let him answer. What do you say?
My belief is, and I'm not talking about because it's in the law or because whatever, because whoever said it. I'm saying because reason, okay? Use your brain, as I do all the time.
But different people have different reasoning.
Yeah, subjective.
It's not subjective.
It is subjective. Morality is subjective, my friend.
No,
some people, look, in some communities, wearing miniskirts is not permitted.
You've been talking for enough time.
I'm talking about non-Muslim communities.
Right now,
please let me make my point.
If you had a daughter or a son and they got killed by a person wearing a fucking balaclava and you would never catch the person, I promise you be the first person saying,
yeah, that's what we're saying, it's subjective.
And the balaclava.
That's what we're saying, it's subjective.
Right now, when you got fucking acid attacks, stabbings, how many deaths were there last year? No, murders in London last year. No, sorry, last month. Look at
what were the murders for?
Look at this society. And guess what?
How were the murders committed?
And guess what?
Knife? My knife?
And guess what?
Are you going to ban the knives now?
Sir, I'm not younger than you. Yeah? There is a saying from the young people, 16, 17, there's a saying called no face, no case. No face, no case.
Okay, let me ask you this.
I promise you, sir.
Let me ask you this. So based on your...
Honestly, Google it.
We're going all over the place now. Look, I'm not saying what he's saying is wrong. All I'm saying is that if you want to enforce something by law, yes, then that can be contrived as freedom, taking your freedom away from you. Yes? Now wait a minute.
I would say I want to be naked, that's my freedom. I know it's not acceptable to walk around naked.
Yeah, but if it was, will you?
It's not.
Exactly, because your definition of modesty is different from those who say it is okay to walk naked.
Some people do want to walk around naked.
Exactly.
But they don't.
But that's what I'm telling you. That's exactly my point. That your modesty is subjective. Your modesty is subjective from those nudist beaches. Yes? There are certain beaches where they say you have to walk naked here, and that is they feel comfortable there. You see what I mean? That is their modesty. But I wouldn't say that's the same as your modesty, am I right?
Where we are, it's different.
All I'm saying is that these are subjective things.
You didn't hear that original question, you know.
Okay, so why I was saying that some things are objective, I don't mean your style of clothing. I like your style of clothing. It's not objective. What is objective is that women and men are worth the same. And if you have a belief that goes against that, it's objectively wrong.
Hold on, that's not the
objectively,
okay.
not subjectively.
I'll tell you what. I'll give you one example which we all can relate to. What is your view about usury, about interest that the banks charges? This is somehow globally accepted. Yes? Do you think this is morally right?
Objective does not mean at the moment accepted.
Globally.
In Nazi Germany, you have many people believe that Jews are worth less. It didn't mean that objectively it was right.
Say again?
In Nazi Germany, many people believe that Jews are worth less. That does not mean that Jews are worth less. It actually means the opposite. Jews objectively seen are worth exactly the same by virtue of being human, just like our female partners.
Hold this on.
What is that going to do with our
saying that if something's universal, doesn't make it objective.
Yes. So what? Because isn't this universal? Sorry, wait. Weren't this your words? Universal.
Yes.
What do you say?
Universal values.
Values. Yes. So give me an example of a universal value which you think is everyone should abide by.
Yes.
Go on.
Democracy.
Really?
Freedom of expression. Freedom of assembly. Freedom of religion.
Wait. You think democracy is something that should be accepted?
Yes.
You know Hitler was elected by democracy.
Yes. I know my history.
Look how he ended up.
Yes, but that's a corruption of democracy.
So that's what I'm telling you. Why should some tribe who doesn't want to accept democracy should abide by your Western values of
Because
democracy.
it is objectively seen the best system.
They feel
out of
happy
everyone.
with the way they are.
Yeah.
This tribe.
So what? The Islamic
Wait,
State
wait.
feels happy with how they are.
No. Islamic State is not happy. That's why they're killing everyone.
They feel happy with how they
If
are.
they were happy, they wouldn't be
They do
killing.
not want democracy. They want theocracy.
No.
That's
Wait.
right. That's right.
Democracy doesn't mean that it is a Western way of democracy by bombs and by putting them into a.
That's not the rest of the
Really? So you tell me how was Iraq brought into democracy?
By bombs. But that's not
Thank
because
you.
of
I rest my
democracy.
case. I rest my case.
That's despite of democracy, not because of democracy.
It was. What did
If you look at the statistics.
So you tell me.
You know how
wait. You
democratic
tell me how will you justify the war in Iraq?
Do you know how many
Tell
governments?
me how will you
Do you
justify
know how
the war
many
in Iraq?
democratic governments have fought wars against democratic governments since 1770?
Oh, you're answering the
Zero.
question for me.
Zero.
Why?
Because democracy in itself objectively enhances peace.
Really?
Yes.
So let me get this straight. Are you saying that if a country is not democratic, should you force them into democracy?
No.
Then you're agreeing with me then. Then you're agreeing with me.
I didn't say that.
But you said this was a universal truth that everyone should abide by.
I'm saying it would be better if they were democratic.
But my friend, you're agreeing with me then. Just like that woman who wants to only show her eyes and not the rest of the face, you cannot force her to take that away from her.
It's not the same invading a country and killing millions of people.
I agree, but the principle is similar. In one, a country doesn't want to have a democracy, just like you cannot force them into democracy.
You cannot
Wait.
always force them.
Let me finish my statement. Just like you cannot force them into democracy, whether always or otherwise, you cannot force them. If you force them, then that goes against the principle of democracy, by the people, of the people, for the people.
So how would you
because
say
these
about-
people
what
do
would you
not
say-
want
what do you-
by the people
What do you say
or
about
for
gay
the people.
What about gay people?
Don't change the topic to gay people.
Oh no, it's the same. As you say, you changed the topic from invasions.
So you're
to
saying,
the head.
wait.
No, stop. Let me make my argument.
I didn't finish my point. You already brought in gay people.
Finish
Let
your
me
point.
make. My point is this: forcing anyone to do something, whether it's by democracy or theocracy, is wrong. Do you agree?
No.
What's the difference between you and ISIS then?
By the way, he didn't change subject. It was based on you forcing.
It's a principle.
Or allowing. You said
It's a
they
principle.
shouldn't
What
allow
about-
the
what
boycott.
If you force someone, even by democracy,
like
how
how
is
you
that?
value yourself.
How is that freedom?
So what I'm telling, freedom, my friend, is not absolute.
And neither is democracy.
Democracy, I didn't say democracy is absolute. I said it is
Oh, you
universal.
said it could be forced.
Don't mingle my words. What I say is, freedom is not absolute in the sense of my freedom stops where your freedom begins. So, if
Your
for
freedom
example,
what?
my freedom ends where yours begins.
I see what you mean. You cannot impose your freedom on me. Yes. Just like you cannot impose on that woman who wants to wear
What
the
about
niqab.
a thief?
He keeps saying it, but he doesn't realize it.
No. You're distorting my argument. If you have a
They shouldn't be
if
allowed
you have
to wear
a
niqab.
if you have a person that likes stealing or raping, you should be able to force them to not exercise their freedom.
Oh no. Hold on.
Clearly what he's saying
Stealing,
before agreeing with him, but that's fine.
stealing somebody else's property, you're actually harming that someone else. Killing somebody else, you're harming that somebody else. Wearing a niqab is harming who?
You're harming society.
How?
By expressing that backwards message,
How
medieval
is it back?
message.
How is it backward?
Women should wear this, men should not wear this.
Okay, so let me get this right. If a woman wears a bikini, like the cave women who who hardly wore any clothes, which one is backward? The one that the woman covers completely, or the woman uncovers almost completely?
The one that is covered completely.
Really?
Yes.
That's better. Yes. Thank you. I rest my case.
Wait, no, it's backward. I thought you said backward.
No, backward. So the cave women who did not cover, they're similar to today's women who don't cover. How is that backwards?
What I'm saying is, it's backward in the
You
sense
tell
of
me which is backwards.
It's
To
obviously
uncover
not-
or to cover?
to cover is backward.
So you're telling me that if someone in your family uncovers their body,
They're naked, obviously not, but in the bikini it's okay.
in a bikini even in a bikini, you know the cave women weren't completely naked.
Yeah. What do you say?
So how is your women that you want them to roam around in bikinis different to the cave women? Which one is backwards? Did the cave women completely cover? No, they did not. Do the women today who hardly wear any clothes go out on the beach and so
They're not
on,
different
or
in
go out
many
even in the public in the summer? Now you tell me which one is backward.
They're not different in many respects.
Well,
They're
why
all
are you
human.
telling me what is backward then? When you don't know what backward means?
I know it's backwards.
You're going by the backward by the definition of what your Western
Backwards
community said to you.
Backwards. Don't use stupid words, okay?
Stupid
You
words?
know what
Oh,
backwards
Western
means.
community is a stupid word.
Don't. You know
You're the
what,
one who brought up the word backward.
Can I make my argument now?
Yeah, go on.
So, backwards
Define
in this
it.
sense is not only backwards in time, which I mean backwards to the medieval age, not backwards to the caveman.
Define backward then. go
Okay,
on.
so don't put it with the absurd.
Define backward.
Backwards means outdated because It has been
Time.
refuted over and over again.
Outdated
He
includes
just said
time.
that. He just said that.
It is objectively, it has been refuted
It's
over
not,
and over
it's,
again
not,
over time.
it's not objective, trust me. Nothing objective about backward.
So,
What you might consider as backward, yes, I might not. And what I might
so you're
consider as
saying there's
backward,
no
you might
objective-
not.
So you're saying there's no objective truth.
There is objective truth. Of course there is objective truth.
So,
What I'm asking you is that the objective truth which you place about a woman covering and for her own wishes, you're saying she should not be allowed to do that. In fact, that is a logical argument. You forcing someone not to wear what they want, it is backwards.
I ask you, how can you logically argue? How can you logically argue? Not because it says in my book.
What do you mean logical? What is illogical about someone who wants to go about the way they're dressed?
Because they are a danger to society.
Yeah, that's right.
That is hilarious, dude.
That's
Is that what
dangerous
you've been
to
watching Fox
society.
News or what?
I don't like Fox News
Okay,
at all.
tell me one woman in a niqab who has been danger to your life.
Oh, many.
In Germany, thank God, we don't have many.
No.
Even men.
Would that be zero? Would that be zero?
Even
brilliant.
men
Would that
have
be
sex
zero?
I love your style. But I was never arguing that the actual women, the persons, are the danger. I'm arguing that their beliefs, the inequality, and I said it over and over again, their belief that humans, that men and females are unequal. That is the dangerous part.
So it's not
niqab-
covering their faces.
The niqab,
Exactly.
the niqab is just a symptom of that belief.
So then someone who prays is a problem as well, right?
What?
Someone who prays as well.
Praise.
You just said their beliefs are an issue.
The belief-
It's where the beliefs leading, yes?
Don't mingle our words.
it's the way
Their
I'm not
belief,
mingling your words, you're mingling your words. I'm trying to clarify them. Go
their
ahead.
belief
Yeah.
that men and women are unequal. Not
Who
that
told you they're unequal?
Who said this?
Just because they're dressed. Look, in
Why
our
are men
society,
dressed
wait a
like
minute. In our society, yes, do you wear a miniskirt and high heels?
no, but I could.
But do you?
I don't think it's wrong.
Would you?
I don't think it's
Would
wrong.
you?
I could.
Would you?
Why don't you wear it, mate?
Wait. Would you?
I don't wear it because I think it's wrong. I don't wear it because it's not fashionable.
Ah, I see. So you, just like this gentleman earlier said, you would go by the fashion in the society.
Yes.
Now let me ask you this. If it was fashion in the society to get married to your sister, would you?
No, it's different.
You know, honestly.
It's hilarious.
Oh,
You know what? There's
Why
no
not? In the
line.
future, it might become fashionable to marry your sister. In fact, it was in the past. If you go to places like Egypt, yes, and places like Rome, they used to marry the sisters. It was fashionable then. But this gentleman, according to him, if it's fashionable, you do it.
No.
That's the illogical thing I've heard.
This is the opposite of what I said.
No,
I said
no,
that
you
out
said,
logic.
you
Tell me what I said.
Okay, you said the reason you don't wear miniskirts and high heels is because it's not fashionable.
Correct.
But if it was fashionable, you'll wear them.
Maybe.
Good. Now the same argument can be applied to incest. If it is, why not?
Because that is objectively, universally, morally wrong.
No, it's not. Many people actually
Because
commit
just
incest.
you're harming the children. You will.
How are you harming them? Let me tell you the adults. Let me tell you a father wants to sleep with his son. A father wants to sleep with his son. They both are adults. Would you say yes or no to that? No. Why?
They're not harming the
Wait,
children anymore.
wait.
Because it creates
What?
bad incentives.
How?
I'd say
Wait, let him take it.
How could you
They're both
possibly?
adults. They're both adults.
How could you possibly?
It's consenting adults.
How could you possibly?
they're both consenting.
How could you possibly equate me saying that I may wear female clothes to incest? That's ridiculous. I'm sorry.
It's your opinion.
You said.
And yours is changing by yours.
Okay, why would you say it's not allowed? Tell me a reason why it's not allowed.
Because objectively,
a
reasonably,
father.
you shouldn't allow it.
No.
Like wearing
Wait.
makeup.
According to their reason and their logic, they say we are in love. This is a perfectly. You remember you talked about love earlier? Well, they both are saying the same thing. We love each other and we want to sleep with each other. Who are you to interfere in our relationship? What do you say then? Wait. Let him answer. What do you say then?
I say you shouldn't.
Why?
Because
Who
it would
are
harm
you?
society.
Democracy. Remember?
It harms-
Democracy.
Democracy is not anarchy, my friend.
Also,
This is your problem.
So you're telling me if a democracy allowed incest, you would say okay.
No. I would say.
So he doesn't even believe in democracy now.
No. Believing.
Goalposts are everywhere in this conversation.
You're shooting yourself
Because-
in the foot every time you say it.
Because I'm saying democracy is objectively seen the best political system, does not mean that I agree with every law a democracy ever enacts.
So why would you say democracy is something universally acceptable?
Because it protects the inherent freedom and equality of humans better than anything.
So what
else.
what about the freedom of these two who want to love each other?
My freedom ends.
Not your freedom, not your freedom. The freedom of this father.
These guys' freedom ends with the freedom of all the other people.
No, let's see all the other people in the community also want to be gay. Then what?
Then you're living in an okay society. Then that's
There you go. Would you call him anti-gay now?
But this is
Sorry, anti-incest.
This is like saying, what if humans had 3 arms and 4 legs? It is not true. This is not how it is.
No, but we are talking about 4 legs and 4 arms. We are talking about a man and his son are in love, and they want to.
Crazy.
No. I'm testing your limits of a society, of a democracy.
Yes.
If a democracy, maybe 50, 60 years ago, LGBT wasn't permitted in this democracy.
Yes.
It was by law.
Yeah.
It was illegal.
Sorry, that's
and
all.
you could wait a minute. You could be actually be killed for it. Yes.
I don't know.
Now wait a minute. Was that democracy?
I don't think could you be killed for being gay?
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's quite amazing.
Maybe you should ask Hitler what he did to the gays.
Stuff, bro.
They still are killed.
Yes,
I know what it is.
in his democracy, you should ask what
Don't
he did to the
teach me
gays.
about German history.
Oh, I can teach you a lot about Germany as well, don't worry.
Let's go ahead.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Were the gays in Germany killed?
Yes.
I don't need to teach him anything.
So you just-
he agrees
you
with
just
me.
said they weren't.
Okay, so
There's nothing to agree with.
so
It's facts.
let me.
Facts.
So now the society permits it.
Yes, fine.
Okay, that is something that you have to come to terms with democracy.
Yeah.
Democracy can be as hostile and extremist as you can make it if whoever the leaders are of that democracy are bad. And it can be as good as you want it if the leaders are good. Wait a minute, I haven't finished. So your understanding of a democracy is not perfect harmony and peace for everyone. It's not.
Did I say that democracies are perfect?
No, you said it protects everyone's rights, X, Y, and Z.
Better than anything else. Correct.
Really?
Yes.
So I'll tell you what, in Islam, everyone's rights are protected as well. Even the non-believers, their rights are protected. Yes.
So what is about
in a Sharia? In a Sharia,
non-believers.
the rights of the unbelievers is protected. Yes.
Okay, so how was it
In
in,
fact-
the medieval caliphate?
Which medieval caliphate? Do you know anything about it before you argue
A
on
little
this?
bit.
No, don't. Look, little knowledge is dangerous.
Okay, so let me
And that's
tell
what you
you.
have been expressing so far. Tell me something that you have actually studied, and then we'll talk.
Unlike you, I'm not an expert
You know what?
on everything.
You heard of jizya? I'm not an expert on everything. You heard of jizya?
Of?
Jizya. You heard of this term, jizya?
I heard it before. Tell me what it is.
Okay, jizya is a tax.
Oh yeah, the unbeliever.
Yes. Do you think that is right or wrong?
I think it is not right to base any tax on religious belief, because religious belief should not base. It's not a value. You're a Muslim. I love you as much. You're Christian as you, and all the atheists.
And who pays for all your road building and for all the other expenses like building an army?
Value
to
creating
defend you?
taxpayers. Value creating taxpayers.
So do you have to pay tax? You okay with paying tax?
Yes.
Okay, called jizya tax.
Yeah, but why?
No, it's not.
But it's not. But
It is a tax.
It's based on income.
What's that?
It's based on income, not on belief.
Who told you it's based on income? Jizya is not based on income only.
It's based on belief.
It has to
No.
be equal.
Jizya is based on certain
On
principles.
everybody.
For example, look, I'll tell you a different. You know the Muslims pay the zakat. Like this is the month of Ramadan where we fast
yes,
and
I
we
know,
also
I
are
know.
very generous in charity and we give zakat mostly in this month of Ramadan.
I know.
Okay, so the Muslims pay 2.5% of their savings to charity. And this is the minimum. They can obviously pay more if they wanted to. But this is the minimum.
Great.
And there is obviously conditions. That means that person should be able to afford that. Secondly, he should not have a debt himself. Yes, that person should be sane. That person should be a Muslim. These are the conditions for 2.5%. In the case of jizya, yes, it is paid by the people who live in a caliphate who are under the protectorship by Sharia under a Muslim rule.
You mean now in the medieval,
Non-Muslim.
the medieval caliphate.
Or even if there's a caliphate tomorrow who wants to impose jizya, it'll still apply to them. But most of the Muslim countries today, they do not impose any jizya on the unbelievers. In fact, there is no taxes until recently in Saudi Arabia and all. Zero taxes. And that's the reason many of the Christians and many of the non-Muslims like Hindus and all, they flock to that areas. What I'm getting to this is that if you consider this to be inequality, then I'll show you how it is the other way around. It is actually in the favor of the unbelievers, not in the favor of the Muslims. Because you see, jizya, those who pay jizya, they actually do not have to perform the duty of participating in the army. So they are actually exempted from the duty of being recruited in the army. Secondly, the women of these people, they do not have to pay any jizya. The ones who are obviously insane, the ones who are
There's
children.
another unfair division between men and
Finish.
females.
Let me finish.
Yeah,
Finish.
muta is the
Okay, jizya there's no jizya on the rabbis or on the priests of the churches and so on. The only people whom jizya applies to are those who can afford it, and that too there is a cap. Something like, I don't know, 48
What's your point?
dirham. My point is this, in the case of the zakat, the Muslims is applicable both on male and female. Remember, in jizya is only on the male. it doesn't exempt them from military duties. In the case of jizya, it does exempt them. Yes?
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Vegard and I'm a Norwegian Muslim convert. I'm working with the Dawah organization IslamNet to establish the Deen of Allah here in Norway. We give Dawah and present Islam to the Norwegian people. Isn't that great? To be more efficient in our Dawah, we are establishing a first of its kind Masjid and Dawah Center, where we will have Islamic programs, classes, lectures and education for non-Muslims. I am so grateful to Allah for having guided me to Islam. Sadly, I am the only Muslim in my family. It hurts me that my parents haven't accepted Islam yet, and I ask Allah to guide them. But it also gives me a special drive to work for the establishment of Islam. I don't want anyone to miss the chance of becoming Muslim. Maybe my mom and dad become Muslim one day thanks to you. If we can establish this center, I could bring my parents to come and learn about Islam in our native language, which is a challenge today with the mosque here speaking Somali, Arabic and Urdu. The Prophet ﷺ said that the Muslims are like one body. If you can feel my pain, would you please help me relieve it? You are now my new family. Click the link and donate to establish this masjid and share in the reward for the message of Islam reaching the corners of Norway.